The Outlast Trials is by no means an easy game.
Oh my god, I'm actually fucking cornered. Like, holy shit. One guy on one end, and the fucking tall son of a bitch on the other! I can't win!
And I would have killed to know these tips I'm about to show you as a brand new, fresh out of the gate level 1 player. So here's 10 tips and tricks you need to know before playing the Outlast Trials. The first tip I have for you is pretty basic, but it's essential to making sure you stay alive for as long as possible, and that is to always choose to be stealthy unless you have someone chasing you. I'd say I spend a good 75% of my time playing the harder missions in this game, crouch walking or regular walking to avoid making noise, and I always prefer to be in the darkness rather than the light to make sure no one can see me. Now of course, stealthiness isn't always going to be an option. This is a horror game after all, and a lot of times you're just going to be running away from someone that's right on your tail. So that's where tip number 2 comes in. Tip number 2 is going to be how to lose enemies that are chasing how to avoid these psychosis trapped containers. When you open any container, there's a chance that it can be rigged with a psychosis gas trap. Fortunately, when you know what you're looking for, it's really easy to spot these traps. Now I'm going to go ahead and put an image up on screen of what they look like, so if you see one of these when you open a container up, back away and wait for the trap to go off. Then you can go and grab the items out of there. Now, if you don't always feel like looking for these, you can of course just back away for a few seconds with every container you open, but they're pretty easy to spot once you know what they look like. Tip number 7 is going to be that bricks have multiple uses. So once you throw one at an enemy, if it's safe to do so, pick it up again so you have another one in case you need it. Keep in mind this tip does not apply for bottles because they do break upon impact. Tip number 8, and I know I already made a short about this, but I really recommend doing this because it's extremely helpful. This is going to be turning on your noise indicator display. This option is going to be under the General tab in your settings. Once you get in game, this indicator can show one of 3 things. The first is just a dot, which means you're basically making no noise. You'll usually see this if you're crouch walking or walking with something heavy like a film reel or a gas can, because walking slow makes no noise. The second is a dot surrounded by a pair of parentheses, which means you're making some noise but only enemies pretty close by can hear you. And the third is a dot surrounded by 2 pairs of parentheses. This means that you're making a lot of noise and enemies that are further away are able to hear you. Some examples of this can be if you're bashing down a door, cranking up a generator, and even sprinting. If at any point you see these parentheses turn red, it means an enemy can hear you and it's probably best to get away from the place that you made the sound because they could come check to see if you're there. Tip number 9 is going to be turning on your light indicator. This will help you visualize whether or not you're in a place dark enough not to be seen. If you see this little moon icon, you're in a dark enough place not to be seen, and as long as you're quiet, you won't be detected. Tip number 10 is going to be how to solve these generator tinkering puzzles fast. It's a very easy puzzle, it's just kinda difficult to explain it entirely, so I'm just going to offer you a basic explanation on how to beat this puzzle. This puzzle has 6 switches, one of which will start off as green. Your goal is to turn all of these switches from red to green. One of these switches, when pressed, will act as a double switch, turning both the switch that was originally pressed and another different switch from red to green. So when you get to the generator, just start tinkering with it randomly. When it ends up shorting out, you know the switch that turns on the other switch has not been pressed yet. So to beat it, pick up on the last switch that you left off on. When you do this, you're pretty much guaranteed to beat this game in 1 to 2 more tries.
So there you have it. Those are the top 10 tips I would recommend to any new player who is just getting their hands on the Outlast Trials. This game is super duper fun, and I definitely recommend you buying it if you're kind of on the edge about it. You know, you want it, but you're not sure if you should. Definitely get this game. It's really, really fun. But yeah, that's going to do it for me here. I really appreciate you guys watching if you made it all the way to the end. If you guys have any video recommendations that you guys would like to see featured on this channel, just leave them down in the comments below and I'll try my best to make them happen. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day, have a great night, whatever time it is for you, and I will see you guys later. Peace.